I've been doing pretty good. Ex nihilo. Ex nihilo. Nihilo. Ex nihilo. I'm trying to get it. Thank you for that follow, X Ni. I'll just call you X Ni. I'm no good at nicknames. I've been doing pretty good, Unwary Dead. I'm tired. I'm very tired. I've been grinding. It is Hilo. You can call it. Okay. Ex nihilo. Okay, I did get it. X. Okay, X. I'm no good at coming up with nicknames. Yeah, there you go. Kathier hasn't had the sweet sound of sanding for a while. I'm doing pretty good. The trick is that I find it means out of nothing. Oh, nice. That is a good name. Whenever you got a lot of work to do, it's a grind. Most things are a marathon, you know? Guitar building is a lot of little steps that you have to follow through on to make the guitar. And even after you finish one guitar, that's not the end of it. You have to make another and another and another. So it's like with guitar building, it's a grind, like all things. In the end, it is. I find the best way is to, even if you're working, you don't have time, just doing something to just move it along every day or so, just keeps that fire burning. Even if you know you have some days where you do better than others, where you're more productive, but I find, you know, it's best to just keep it going just with little things. Even if you only have time to sand the top one day, just sand the top. It's like, oh, I only have 15 minutes. You just do it. That's kind of how Manny works. When Manny was working and streaming on his lunch breaks, he was really productive because he would be like, I have this much time, I'm going to get this done, right? And so I found that is a good way to approach guitars, because you're not going to finish it in a day. It's not going to get done in a day. You can do it in a day, but it won't be finished. So it's kind of like you just approach it just get something done. Just keep it moving. And then other days you get a lot done. And then you start getting really close and you're like, whoa, I'm almost done. You know, it's like, it seems like grind. And then you're like, whoa, I'm like almost done. And then you put the neck on and it's there, you know? Yeah. How are you doing, Gatalogic? So I've been grinding this last year, as you guys have been seeing. It's been good. I found the most tiring. I am never sick of being in the shop. I'm never like, oh, I got to work on guitars today. I never have a problem with that. But I do feel extremely tired when I have to edit videos or do all the other things, set up accounts, do website stuff. That stuff really tires me out. But this stuff, I still get tired. And then I'm like, why am I so tired right now? And then I look at the clock. It's like, oh, yeah, because I've been here for 10 hours, you know. But so I'm just getting this fingerboard even with the neck. I took a flush cut bit and did it, but it wasn't perfect, and I want that to be perfectly flat and straight and even. So I'm just taking a flat block and just getting that taper nice and smooth. But for the most part, it's good. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, just a little tired. I'm drinking Canada Dry today. I need some sugar. This is me getting crazy. I'm on stimulants now. I drank some sugar. I must be tired. I don't do energy drinks. Maybe I'll do some tea or like a sugar drink. That's me on when I get crazy, everybody. I'm really hitting it hard now. Maybe I'm actually not. You know what? Sometimes I think maybe it isn't that hard. I'm just incredibly weak, and I think I'm working really hard, but I'm actually not. You know, but to me it's like really hard work. But to most people it'd be like, it's not that bad. I don't know what you're complaining about. Black tea, lots of caffeine. I don't usually do caffeine afternoon. I don't like caffeine at night. Maybe I'll do green tea or black tea. Black tea is pretty good. If I do have a coffee later, I will usually have a dark roast because that's less caffeine. I don't need to get crazy here. Come on. I'm not crazy. I just need to get things done. I had a buddy, he worked at in software. He worked for a video game company, and that guy was he was working full-time at a video game company and going to school. I don't know how he did it. He didn't sleep. He slept like maybe 3 or 4 hours a night. He was just a maniac. And he was drinking like multiple Red Bulls a day. He was drinking like 3 or 4 Red Bulls a day, which I don't think is good. It's not good at all to do that. And anyway, he had some heart problems and stuff. And it was just not good. It was just not good. Eventually his body just gave out on him. Like he couldn't go anymore. And it's like, I've never pushed myself that hard. I've never pushed myself, hey, Team Eradicate Clan, thank you for following. Yeah, the huge amount of sugar, and yeah, it was just not good. I burned out once. I did when I was in college, when I was doing. That's how I know all these guys that went into gaming, is because I went to school for 3D animation, and we were grinding in the lab like 16-hour days in the lab, trying to get our portfolios done and stuff like that. And that year, I was in. I learned what not to do, because I did the worst thing is like when you get. My projects were just way too ambitious for my skill level. Like I wanted to make feature length quality animation, and it's like it just wasn't going to happen. So it's one of those things where you get into that situation where it's like, oh, I'll just work harder. The problem is I'm not working harder, you know? And so when you're trying to solve all problems by just working harder, you're going to run into that wall eventually, because there comes a point where you just physically cannot work harder than you are. And if that's how you solve all problems, then you're in for something. And my body was a mess. I was a complete wreck. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't sleeping. I was, yeah, it just wasn't good. Wasn't good. Yeah. Ritalin, and you didn't sleep for days at a time. I've never been on any sort of medication like that. That's one thing that it's like stimulants and things like that. I don't have much experience with that, because basically isn't Ritalin just like an amphetamine? Like that's all Ritalin is. It's like literally it's speed, you know? Like that's the funny thing. It's just prescription speed. I didn't use any amphetamines or anything like that. Hey, Fancy Hat Shop, thank you for the follow. It is a trap gopher. Yeah, it's a potent amphetamine. Yeah, I was young. I was only like 20 at the time, so I still had youthful energy, but then I was also like partying at the same time. It was just a bad situation. Like I was in college and I was like working really hard, but I was also like partying too. So that doesn't mix very well either. But you can kind of get away with that when you're 20 for a little while. Hey, Lady Rosie, how are you doing today? Anyway. I learned the hard way. About how not to handle things. But there was also a lot going on. I won't delve too deep into it, but I didn't. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you found me, Fancy Hat Shop. I'm just working on this neck right now. I'll show you my fancy guitar. I'll put some Hank juice on it. So this is the guitar I'm working on. And here, let me get. So Fancy Hat Shop, do you make hats? I am a fan of fancy hats. More of a toque guy. Here's the guitar I'm working on right now. So this is Turkish walnut, this guitar. Come on. Why isn't that fitting in? There we go. You want your neck to be nice and tight like that. There we go. Look at that. You had 10 years as a lab rat for the doctors. You had anxiety and was stressed big time. I had to go through. Yeah. Oh, that sucks, Hayes. That really sucks. I paid my dues in my early 20s, and I'm kind of now came out the other side. It took me a while to get healthy again. I didn't really get healthy until I was about 28, and where I just finally got myself sorted out from my early 20s. So sometimes you like to knit and have knitted hats. Nice. So Fancy Hat Shop, what does that look to you? A lot of people are saying it looks like a cat. That would, or an owl, or a lyle, or lowl, lyowl. Yeah, Rage has done some fabric tops. Anyway, I'm really excited about this one. This one's going to be pretty nice. But I have an even fancier one. A lie owl. We're going to need an artist's depiction of that, Kathy. Let me show you. Let me show you the real fancy one. Here's something real fancy. That's Buckeye Burl, pressure dyed. I'm going to start wet sanding this one. Hopefully this one will get assembled end of this week. I can start putting this together if all goes well. Wednesday is the giveaway, and then maybe this one will get assembled. So the color in that, so this is a piece of wood called Buckeye Burl, and they use a vacuum chamber to push the dye into the wood. So that texture is the wood, but then they put like some red dye and some blue dye and then just pushed it right into the wood with resin. Lady Rosie, thank you for that follow. Briggs can't wait. Yeah, Briggs. I know Briggs wants a ukulele. Wants a real. Then he won't have to try and take his sister's. I think this one. This is a showpiece. I'm making this one specifically as a showpiece, to kind of just promote my brand that is launching. Hank Bud Guitars launches officially end of June. So this is going to be kind of the flagship build for Tree Frog. Nice. Thank you for that resub, Tree Frog. I know you're going for it. So Wednesday is the giveaway. For anybody who's new here, we're doing a subscriber giveaway. Handmade ukulele. You're just waiting on the prime. Nice. I'm already. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's been a while coming. So in the early part of my streaming, I did a lot of ukulele builds, and so this has been hanging on my wall and not being used. And I felt like, hey, you know what? Somebody should probably use this ukulele. Yeah, thanks, Nifty. It will be. It's coming. It's coming soon. But it's. I feel pretty good about it. I feel confident with my builds. That's the main thing. So, JB, it's yours. Yeah. So anybody who's interested, we're doing a subscriber giveaway. To get a ticket, you have to be a subscriber and you use your Hanks, which are loyalty points that you get from watching. And you can get a ticket by doing !ticket, and you'll be in the draw. So you can see the details right here. !ticket. How many Hanks do you have? If you want to see how many Hanks you have, you can get your tickets there as well, Tree Frog. So probably around 4:00 Pacific time on Wednesday. Oh man, you have enough for one, almost two. So it's 2,500 Hanks for one. Subscribers only. You have to be a subscriber, but when you subscribe, you get enough Hanks for one ticket. So there we go. You got it, Tree Frog. You're going to have enough, you'll probably have accumulate enough Hanks this stream to get another ticket by the end of it. So, and then you can still be getting tickets right up till the end. I probably won't do the draw until the end of the stream on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. So, no, this is inlay. I made that by hand, all those little pieces of wood. I did that all by hand. That is inlay. Okay. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Nifty, is I do want to do, I am going to do an electric guitar with something like this. I do want to do more art electrics. That's why this can go. This was an experiment, and everybody, it's kind of fitting that this one is going, all my ukuleles are going, because now that I'm starting Hank Bud guitars, these are all souvenirs from my first year of streaming, and so everybody who has one of these are a rare thing. If Hank Bud guitars becomes a thing, everyone who has one of these, you definitely have a unique piece, you know. And if Hank Bud guitars doesn't become anything, you guys will remember what it is and have a souvenir to be like, it looked like it was really something back in 2022. So yeah, it's collectibles. Rare, the rarest of the rare. So made all these ukuleles, but then now all I do is electric guitars. FFTs. Yeah, Kathier, you hold on to that Hank Bud ukulele. Kathier got a real nice one. Fiscal fungible tokens, yeah. Physical fungible tokens, yes. Those are redeemable in Hanks. Maybe I'll buy them back in Hanks someday. Someday. We'll see. I don't know what's going to come from any of this stuff, but so far I have to see it through to the end. At the end of the day, I have to go all the way. If you're going to do it, I think that's a Charles Bukowski poem. It's like where he says, if you're going to do anything, go all the way. It's an inspiring poem, if you guys are aware of it. Maybe I'll read it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty hard at this time. I don't know if I'm doing anything innovative like Fender or Gibson was, but who knows? Who knows where things will go? Right now, I just want to put out really good boutique guitars. One of the things, you could get 36 tickets for the Mountain Uke. You could steamroll it again, Kathier. You could steamroll it again. Kathier got, how many tickets did you get in that one ukulele? You got so many tickets, at least 50. Yeah, you're never going to succeed if you don't try. Yeah, like that's the thing. It's I don't know. It's kind of, I've done stuff like this before, and honestly, it's all failed. But this time, it feels a little different from other projects that I've been on. I've gone all the way before, but it didn't work out those other times. So it's not my first rodeo, but though this time I definitely feel like I have a lot more support and a lot more interest in what I'm doing than in the past. Other art projects and things I've been part of that were fun to do, but like I said, I went to school for animation. I was a film guy in my 20s. My early 20s, I was a film guy, and that was my thing. Was animated films. So it's kind of weird. If anybody had told me that at this time in my life, I would be building guitars, I would be kind of surprised. I'd be like, I don't understand how I got to that spot, but if that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you had way more Hanks. I think you had like 100,000 Hanks, Kathy. You had a lot of Hanks. I think they were the same price. You were just a maniac back then, Kathy. You just, in those early days, you were just a real maniac. The early days of the stream. Hasn't even been that long. But things are moving along. Progress. That's the main thing. Progress is happening. Things are getting done. Okay, let me just measure something here. You have nearly 100,000? Maybe you had more. I don't know. I've only been streaming about a year and a half. 20 months. I've been streaming 20 months. So, yeah. So almost 2 years in September. So not very long, comparatively. Streamed through the lockdown. That's basically what happened. So, one of the things... this nut is 43 millimeters. I don't know if that really matters. Vintage spec is 42. This one's 43. I don't know if that changes a whole lot, but we'll see. I went with 43 because everything fits better with that. Yeah, the Hank Bud Space Program. You just wait. This is just the beginning. It started with guitars. Let me tell you something. Yamaha doesn't just build guitars. Yamaha builds other things like motorcycles. You just wait. Ghoul Hazard, thank you for that follow. The university had you trapped and you could not be first. You held that first for a long time, Kathy. You've done quite a bit. But now you're free to watch the stream. Did you tell them, no, I must go. I have to watch my favorite streamer. You can't keep me like this. It's inhumane. They don't understand, Kathy, or you're probably speaking gibberish to them like, I need to get the Hanks and listen to the sanding. And they were like, we don't know what's wrong with you or why. Okay, let's get some, what happened to all my sandpaper? Here we go. Finally free. Oh, there's a lot of ways to accumulate hanks. A lot of ways. Yeah, that's the thing. Yamaha started out. Yeah, they're tuning forks. Yeah, I always forget that. Let me tell you, Hank Bud Guitars is going to be an apparel company. Let me tell you something. It'll be very strange. People would be like, did you know Hank Bud HBG? HBG, the brand, global brand of high-end fashion, started out as a guitar builder. Hank Apparel. In Europe, I'll be just known as Honk. That is Honk. You just wait till my hot new designs hit the runway. Okay. Just straight up shorts. Listen here. You guys will be so happy when you won that ukulele because things are about to escalate really quickly. My guitars are going to start out reasonably priced and then go into ridiculous realms of high-end status symbols. My guitars will be in handmade alligator Gucci style bags. Like the bag itself will be $40,000. What do you think my guitar will be if the bag is $40,000? You guys don't understand where this is going, but it's getting crazy. Where's my dowel? In the meantime, everybody keeps taking my stuff. They all keep taking my stuff. All my sanding stuff. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Fancy Hat Shop. I appreciate you stopping by, and you have a good night. I'm going to have to take Emmett out after the stream as well. Juan. You'll know me as Juan. We'll see where this crazy ride goes. Right now, I just need to finish these 2 guitars this month. If I have time, I might do one more crazy guitar. I really want to do, yeah, I'm going to make super fancy status. Like you won't be nobody unless you have a, okay, here's what I envision. Yes, the accessory. Do you remember when all those rich ladies were carrying their little chihuahuas in their bags? Remember that? You're going to see celebrities with Hank Bud guitars slung over their backs. That's what's going to happen. They'll be going to the club with their Hank Bud guitar slung over their backs and just walking around Rodeo Drive with their Hank Bud on their back. And everybody would be like, oh, do you see that bag? There's a real fancy guitar in there. You don't even know. It doesn't even matter if you play or not. It's like, it doesn't even matter. then I'll find out that doing bags is far more lucrative. Fashion and bags, I can move those things way better than guitars. Things will get kooky before they get better. That's the thing that is kind of worrying with the looming financial collapse. As we all know, there's a looming financial collapse. Is there a place for boutique guitars in an economic wasteland? We will see. We will see. Like, that's the thing I've told you guys about when I was the cobbler. When I was a cobbler, I worked at a very high-end shop. We had very, very rich clientele. And some of our clients, easily, they would spend 20 grand on one shopping trip on shoes. And it's not that, and you can do that, you know? And so I've seen that. I don't know if I'm going to totally court that market, but it does exist. And it is interesting to kind of see it and see all the people who clamor around trying to sell that stuff. It's really weird. As someone who isn't a base materialist, I find that all very strange. I don't necessarily covet objects, so I don't really understand that market. But I don't know if I will ever break into that. I don't even understand the guitar market. I'm not even a guitar guy. Which is strange that I build guitars, but I was never a guitar guy. In that I had, I never ogled guitars. I never really ogled them. A Texas Tele, just a larger bodied Telecaster for the tall fellas. Actually, that's the funny thing is mine is actually smaller than the Tele. It's for the little people. My guitars are for the little people. But Gatalogic, I was thinking about doing a baritone Tele. I might do a baritone Tele. Maybe I'll do a Texas Tele. I do have to do another. I do want to do another Muracaster, just because I think the Muracaster, that was another funny thing. That Muracaster started off as a joke. It was just a joke for a Chevy guy. And it turned out insanely well. Like, if you guys remember the Muracaster fiasco, it wasn't even a fiasco. It was like, wow, that thing actually looks really nice. It was kind of weird how well it turned out. So it's kind of I got to make another one as kind of a demo. Okay, so this, I think that's lined up. I'm just measuring. So one of the things that do a baritone, do something that will sell. Nobody wants a baritone. Don't do a baritone. Yeah. I'll leave that for immersive. So we did a short scale I did a short scale telly, and I did a short scale Freya with Meredith. And they're really, one guy commissioned a short scale Freya. That's the thing about weird scale lengths is like, I will only do them if I'm commissioned to do them, but I won't do them on spec because it's hard to find people who are into that, you know? You know? Actually, I don't think that's... Well, maybe that's right. Well, maybe that was right. So one of the things, I'm still waiting for them, but I should be getting some custom plates, some neck plates with my logo on them. That's what I'm waiting for. They should be in soon. I'm still waiting for my decals and my custom plates. Yeah, there's been some baritones. Baritones, I don't know, it depends on the band. I think there's going to be kind of a resurgence in baritones, but there's a lot of companies that do offer baritones now, and you can get conversion kits for your telly if you want. Yeah. Decal, decal. Yeah, that's the thing. So when I started building, I thought people, if you're doing boutique stuff, that it would be better to do more niche things that people can't get anywhere else. But it's actually the opposite is true, you know, that people actually want more standard things, but in nicer woods. I think that's what it is. So like my big river is basically a Telecaster. It's a Telecaster scale length. It has Telecaster hardware, but it's like a really, really nice thin line. It's a smaller body, but it's basically a telly, but you can't get a telly like that. You know what I mean? So like it's like just a really fancy telly. Like you couldn't get something like this even from the custom shop. This is completely unique. The body shape is different. The layout is the same. But I was looking at, like, does Fender Custom Shop, do they have any walnut hollow bodies? And it's like, yeah, they occasionally do. They weren't that nice. They didn't have tops like this. They do nice stuff. I'm not saying that they don't do nice stuff, but they don't do anything like this. Their stuff is very, very standard looking, because that's what people want. That's what the people want, apparently. Rage likes the 80s pointy guitars. You know what? I don't make 80s point. Well, I will make one. I'll make a Destroyer just for fun. I like the Ibanez, the 80s Ibanez. I think are fine guitars. There's a lot of really good builders doing metal guitars. And that's mostly due to the heavy metal market, or just heavy metal players in general, we've talked about it before, that I find metal music is very theatrical. And so you can get away with a lot more bold designs and more ridiculous stuff and more interesting tops because metal is kind of over the top. So your guitar can just be pointy and covered in burl and, crazy. Whereas if you're a country guy, you're not going out on stage in a fluorescent green burl pointy guitar. It won't go with your cowboy hat, right? So a lot of the country guys, they're playing usually vintage style instruments. Butterscotch tellies with black pickguards. That's what they're playing if they're playing electric guitars, right? So what I'm trying to do with the Big River, with this one, is to be like, hey, do you like playing tellies? Do you want something that looks like rustic and nice, natural walnut? It can still go with your look on stage. You can be a cowboy and pull that out, and people will be like, oh yeah, that's a telly. I'll accept that. You know what I mean? But it's not too wild. It's really nice. I think that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with the Big River. With the Big River anyway. The Roya, I'm just doing art. I'm doing art. But walnut does sound nice. Yeah, those DeLongas, those are two like good looking guitars, good designs. And, I kind of, I don't have it here. I lent out my walnut Roya. I have a walnut semi-hollow that I've been showing people. I lent it out to a musician who's doing some recording right now. And man, that walnut has a nice sound with those P90s. It just hit all the marks. It just hit all the marks there. And I really felt that one is just a solid build. Same with this one. The walnut has a really, really good sound. So I feel like I kind of got something in those as far as instruments go. It'll be nice to have some more musicians playing some of my stuff. I can start getting demos made of my stuff. You need to find a country band needs a bass player. Yeah. The 335s are really, they're a nice guitar, a nice design, really nice design, and works well. I like the shape of it. It's pretty good. You should have picked up a telly first. Yeah, it's. I'm sending this one down to Texas. This one, I'm going to get Jared to take that one. That one is going to Texas. That prototype. That's another thing. I'm selling off all my prototypes that I've been doing. Everything up until this guitar and that one have been prototypes. These are branded. They are like the first run. So it's kind of like I'm going to sell off my prototypes not for cheap, but for definitely less than what these are going to go for. And so I got a couple to move. I'm going to hang on to that one because that's my guitar. I'm probably not going to sell it. This one is going to be very similar looking to that one. So I'm keeping that one because it's mine. And then I'm keeping this one because it's the very first one, and it is jacked. That bridge is not in a good spot. It still plays well, but I could never sell this thing. So I'm going to hold on to that one because it's the first Big River, and it plays okay. I don't do the same neck carve anymore, and I might salvage the pickups out of it. I think I might pull the hardware out of it and put in something else because it's kind of a waste. to have the pickups that are in that one just hanging on a guitar that doesn't get played. You're happy with the 2x4s, the 2x4 lap steels? Maybe you deserve better, Gadologic. Maybe you have to build yourself. You know how you're going to get a nice instrument, Gadologic? Is by building yourself a nicer instrument. That's what's going to happen. Every year they'll just get nicer and nicer. Yeah, which guitar did you play the longest? There is something, I don't think you have to pay 10 grand to get a good guitar, but you definitely have to spend at least 800. If you're getting something secondhand, that's usually pretty good, but maybe you'll luck out and get something decent for less. But there's kind of a point where it's like, how much better is that guitar, as for the price point, Yeah, you got your Hondo and your Harley Bentons. If they're set up properly and have good pickups, any guitar is fine. You do not need a high-end guitar to make good music. That's a fact. That is a fact that 80 years of popular music has shown. You can make music on any guitar. But it is nice to have a good instrument. A Rickenbacker. Yeah, Rickenbackers are really nice. Yeah. That makes sense. There is something to it. There is a reason they are at the price point. And that's what you kind of have to pay to get that kind of level of quality. Karen, how are you doing? Yeah, I agree, DeLongest. That's a good price point. After that, it's kind of like you could take your $800 guitar and just put in new pickups. Like you could just get some really nice pickups for like $300, and then it's like you'd probably be pretty good, as long as there's no hardware problems, But there shouldn't be at that price point. But you do get something else once you start paying a little bit more. You do get fancier woods. You'll get a lot fancier wood. You'll get little more detailed things, but it won't necessarily sound like leaps and bounds better. Yeah, I don't know. That's the funny thing about doing boutique guitars. Yeah, the collector market is insane, Lackius. It's that's not really based on whether it was a good guitar or not. It's just like there's probably a reason why there's not many around, They became a collector's item because nobody preserved them. I don't know. I'm not much of a collector myself, when it comes to guitars. And so that's kind of something I don't really understand. I'm more of a woodworker and an artist. That's why it's like I can make a really good instrument, and I'm very, very confident in my instruments as instruments right now. But I can also make some really nice art on them and kind of make them unique in that regard. If somebody is interested, we'll see. So as I get my brand going, I'm going to try a bunch of different things. I'm going to try more art builds. I'm going to do more Big River kind of rustic builds. I'm going to do fancy builds with the Roya and just see what people gravitate towards, So now it's A/B testing the market, you know? What do the people want? How do I market these things? You know? Yeah, that's the thing. It's like your pedals, your pickups, your amp is going to do a lot for sound. A lot. Yeah, that's the thing. It's there's a lot of different ways to approach sound, especially when it comes to music. And with modern music, a lot of it is electronics and how is the album recorded? What kind of equipment did they use? How did they process it? And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think nowadays they can make people's voices, you know, they can auto-tune them properly. They have amps that like can synthesize any kind of sound. So it's kind of like at this point, you know, I don't know how much the combination of woods is really going to affect it, depending on the recording style, depending on how the thing is produced. I think there are a lot of elements that you can get out of the guitar itself, but then there's a lot that will be kind of like post-processing. So it's kind of, you know, it's just a lot of factors when it comes to tone. Tone is not just the woods, you know? Is the player, yeah, that's true. So CMC, hey, Standing with Leather, how are you doing tonight? So CMC, we had a really good jazz guitarist come in, and we had him play on really cheap P90s. We had some really cheap P90s. Old Man Zozobra, thank you for that follow. And this guy made that guitar sound so nice. He made it sound so good. And that was all in his hands. So the player's ability definitely has a huge effect. But if you're a very good player, why not have a nice guitar? You know? If you're not a very good player, why not have a nice guitar? Sometimes it's just nice to have nice things, you know? It makes you want to play it. A well set up guitar. That's another thing, is like when someone sees the guitar, they should want to play it. That's what you want. Yeah. I think with acoustic guitars, it definitely has a huge... Tonewood has a huge influence on acoustic guitars. These semi-hollows that I'm making with walnut, they have their own voice. You can hear them acoustically. You wouldn't play it like an acoustic guitar, but when you play it, you feel it. And I find with some really nice P90s or some Tele, like the single coils, sound really, really good on these chambered walnut guitars I've been making. And that's what I've gravitated towards, and that's what I'm kind of focusing on. That's the sound of these and the feel of them, you know? Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Leather. I've just been, I took yesterday off, and now I'm just back in the shop prepping these guitars. Just a lot of sanding now. All of them are cut out. I still have to carve this neck. I'll probably be carving Actually, this neck I'll be carving on Wednesday, so everyone will get to see me. I probably won't start tonight, but this neck, I will carve it on stream on Wednesday for this guitar. And then this guitar, it is very close to being done. This one finishing, I'm going to do a satin tung oil resin on it, so I don't have to spray it. It won't take as much time to finish, and it cures in about a week anyway. So this one, I don't have to rush as much. It'll get done. So standing with leather, what are you working on these days? Yeah, I think the neck carve has a big. It has to feel good. A neck carve that doesn't. I'm not going to say a bad neck carve, but a neck carve that doesn't work with your playing style. It's a chore to play that guitar, and you just won't gravitate towards it. You just won't want to play it. And so you want a guitar. I find with my guitars, that's another thing, is the neck carve on my guitar is my signature. That's what makes it playable. I try and keep the bodies light. That's another thing. That's just like ergonomics, and like keep the bodies light and have a neck carve that feels good in your hands. It won't work with everybody's playing style, but it'll work with most. Yeah, semi-hollows are nice. These ones you can, like I said, you can play them acoustically. You don't have to plug them in. If you want to just like strum a bit. Oh, nice. You made your first Bob Ross style paint and been making a few leather products and working on tiling renovations in your house. Oh, man, you've been busy. That sounds pretty good. Oh, man, that's crazy. Those necks are so fat on those Epiphones, those old ones. But they are made. They do have a big sound. I wouldn't say mine. So mine aren't like. I don't know. They have a good sound. They just. You know what else it is? Is just having. I was talking to Jer about that, and Jer was saying what he likes is when you can feel it, when you feel the guitar resonating, and he thinks that just makes the player more in tune with the instrument because you just feel it, and it brings out a better performance when you can feel the reverberations in your body as you're holding the guitar. And I think that's a good point. I'll use that as a selling point. I'll incorporate that into my pitch. But yeah. So if you're interested, some Duncan 59. The antiquity pricing, yeah. Those 59s are really nice. I'm going to do a build with a 59 in the neck and a JB in the bridge. Hey, Dr. Moda, thank you for that follow. I got a set of the antiquity humbuckers. They're really nice, but man, are they pricey. I really like the sound of the antiquity, just the humbuckers, but man, I do not want to pay that price for them, but that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Willie, how are you doing tonight? So Karen, what's how are the design ideas coming for the guitar? Do you got many ideas? I know you got ideas. You got to have the maple spacers in those Duncans. The newer ones don't sound like those at all. Okay. So anybody who's interested, we have a group Discord. If you're into guitars and want to find more guitar people on Twitch, they're all in there. We all stream, and the Discord notifies you when we stream. We have a couple guitar techs. We have a bunch of builders, ukulele, acoustic, electric guitar builders, and just a bunch of enthusiasts and stuff. So anybody who's like wants to check out more people and find more guitar stuff on Twitch, that's the place. That's the place to find it. You have two specifically, the one you really want to do. Now that you have the body, it will be much easier to figure out placing. Yeah, that's awesome. And are you going to burn the whole thing, like the back as well? Like you might as well just go to town on that thing. Like I said, just handle that body very carefully because basswood just dents so easy. It scratches really easily. So just make sure when you're handling it that you're just super careful. Not that you're not careful. I'm just saying. It's really easy to dent that stuff. Just putting it down on the table too hard can sometimes dent it. So always have like a yoga mat or something underneath it is good. I always just use like yoga mats or dish pads, things like that. But yoga mats work very well. Okay, Terry, we'll catch you in a bit. I'll probably raid into Manny if he's still streaming in a couple hours. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Other than that, so I just marked off, I already told you, like I marked off where the bridge is, and that's about it. Everything else is pretty much fair game on that, on the top anyway. Also keep in mind, Karen, that there will be rings around the pickups. So there will be like a 1/4 inch covering around the pickup cavities. So just keep that in mind as well. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the digital the technology is getting pretty good as far as like digital processing and things. But if you're into doing your own effect boxes and stuff, there's also another guy on Twitch. His name's Hemel Audio, and he's been doing oh, sorry, I did that wrong. He's been doing his own effect boxes and stuff. So there's a lot of, that's what you're into. There's a few guys. I'm not much of an electronics guy. So I'm more of a woodworker. Take it from Karen. I do not know electronics very well. I lean heavily on Hemel and Orbiter and Immersive and just other guys in our group that know more than me about those things. My background is woodworking. I'm not much of a electronics guy. I probably could build a box, but it's just not something I've done. It's solid and beautiful. Well, thank you, Karen. It's also sanded. I sanded it real nice just for you. It does feel different. It does feel nice when you got it. That basswood actually did feel really nice. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to Orbiter here. Orbiter Guitars is winding some pickups these days. So if anybody's into pickup winding as well, Orb is working on some pickup winds. Rage Guitars is working on some pickup winds. Everybody's doing stuff. There's a lot going on right now for guitars and guitar-related things. Karen is burning a guitar, pyrography style. We don't know what design yet, but I'm sure it will look great. Oh, you worked at Godin. Nice. Hey, Nando Molina, thank you for that follow. Been teching since the 90s. Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How do you pronounce your name? Lachiase? Can you spell it phonetically? I don't know what to... Lachie? I'm no good with names. But that's awesome. It's always nice to meet another guitar person here on Twitch. I've only been streaming for 20 months. 20 months. La Chais. Lachais? Is that right? Lachais? Lachais? What did you do for Godin? It's good. Oh, okay. Lachais. My background was actually in clarinets. I used to build clarinets. So that's how I got going. I worked in a production facility and we made clarinets. I did that for 6.5 years. So that's what got me started in instrument building. Setup, fretwork. Yeah, production is a grind. It's a real grind. But man, you must have got really good at doing setups. Meredith Coloma, who started this shop, she did setups and fretwork for Sadowski for like a year straight. That's all she did was setups before she even touched anything else. That's what they had her doing. So she got pretty good at doing fretwork quickly. Oh, nice. Oh, right on. Do you play clarinet, beatniks? I don't play clarinet. I just randomly, I'm just like good at details and woodworking. And so it's like, it was a whole new world for me being in the clarinet world. Oh, okay. Yeah, my claim to fame, my biggest clarinet was at Barack Obama's inauguration. A clarinet, I made the barrel for the clarinet that was played at Obama's inauguration with Anthony McGill played it with Yo-Yo Ma and Itzhak Rabin. So that was my big. 1 billion people saw my clarinet and they didn't even know. So that was my biggest debut of anything I worked on. Of course, my name was not on it. I just sanded it up. My job was sanding mostly. But it was pretty interesting. It was pretty neat to see that. It was a big stage for sure. So it was pretty big for the company. A performance like that at that level. Yeah, it's that was my high point as a clarinet sander. But I never really planned, once I was done with that job, I never really planned on getting back into instrument making. I was kind of done. Like I said, production work is very tedious. The problem with production work is you will do one thing. Day in, day out, you become a specialist, right? And that's what's kind of nice about doing boutique work. Boutique is you do everything. So it's like every one of these things I would probably get kind of tired of doing. But, you know, during the course of a week or two of working on a guitar, I'm cutting out the body, I'm carving the neck, I'm doing the fret work, I'm doing finishing. So every day I'm doing a different task. So it never really becomes repetitive. And that's what's kind of nice about doing boutique instruments. Production work is it's factory work. It all just becomes muscle memory eventually, and you can do it blindfolded. You know, you're just doing the thing. The only good thing about the production work was it was a lot of hand work, but it wasn't a lot of thinking work. And so I was free to just listen to music, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks. So my day was like filled with I could still kind of pursue my interests to a certain degree, and that's why I kept that job for so long, making the clarinets. It suited my lifestyle at the time. I could do it. Yeah, it was interesting. At one point, I switched to 3 days a week so that I could work on some animated film projects I was working on. And so that was, even though it's like I had just enough money to survive, I was in my 20s at this time, so it's like it was okay to live like that. I'd have like 4 days off and then work 3 days. And that was just ideal. That was just the best. That was like one of the best working kind of situations I ever had. And I could just do my job. I could just go in 3 days, do my job, have 4 days off. And that was ideal. I highly recommend that. It's pretty hard to swing, but I could still get a lot done in that time. So anyway, now I just do guitars. Nothing but guitars. Emmett, he's awake now. Emmett, come here. Emmett, come here. He's just staring at me. He's just staring at me. He's not coming over. Come here, Emmett. Oh, Emmett. Emmett, come here. Come here. Come over here. Somebody wants to see you. Somebody wants to see you, Emmett. Come here. Come here. Let's see. There he is. Come here, Emmett. He's like, why? Why should I come over there? Come here. Come here. There we go. There we go. Oh, hey. Megan wanted to see you. Oh, he's just so tired today. He's just so tired. We've been partying all night. There we go. There we go. We've been running around. I don't know, he's usually pretty, around 8 o'clock is when he gets ready to go again. Anyway, Emmett. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we've been partying. Anyway, there you go, Megan. Now he's going to go and hang out over there now. That was all he wanted from me. There you go. There you go. Anyway. Oh, sorry, I missed that, Beatniks. Yes, I do know who you're talking about there, Beatniks. Yes, I do. Oh no, I don't know why a dog does what he does. So I don't have any famous players playing my guitars yet, but AJ came by the shop. AJ commissioned a pink guitar last year. Around this time, actually, is when I did her guitar. And so she's back in town and doing some recording. She's in a band called the Gutter Flowers. And I also lent them my Roya walnut semi-hollow. And so they're going to take that guitar too. And I said, you can take that guitar if you take lots of video. Yeah, the first pink guitar. AJ really liked the semi-hollow with the P90s. I actually, honestly, I'm going to talk to her when she gets back. I think that's a better guitar for her, but we were still prototyping at the time. Oh, attack! 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 Emmett is attacking. Somebody's in the shop, everybody. It's Meredith has broken into the shop. He's attacking her right now. Anyway, yeah, there it is. There's the pink guitar. Anyway, it was good to see AJ again. There was, what do you need? Why are you here? What are you doing here? The banjo?
Yeah.
Don't take my banjo.
No. I was looking at it. This is completely the wrong one.
Is that thing finally fixed?
No, I just forgot that the skin got delivered.
Oh.
So.
Emmett, get down. Hey, Emmett, no.
Oh man, sorry, I didn't come in today.
Oh, it's okay. AJ came in today. Meredith Coloma's in the shop, everybody. She's distraught, out of breath, and as much of a maniac as ever.
Always.
Yeah. Anyway, are you just taking off right away?
Yeah, I'm gonna go do this at home, so I wanna drop it off. I wanna get rid of this thing.
Meredith is reskinning a banjo tonight. So, are you in tomorrow or no?
No, I'm gone until Thursday. I'm back. I have my visa stuff tomorrow.
Okay.
In Seattle, so we're gonna be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be wet sanding.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wet sand that body.
Like it's your only job.
Yeah, AJ's in town recording an album.
Oh, nice.
I also lent her the Royal with the P90s.
Oh, nice.
That sounded, she was playing one of her songs on that, and it was sounding real nice.
Cool.
To the point where I'm like, you know what, honestly, like for her style of music,
Yeah.
that semi-hollow with the P90 suits it way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
But she says that the great thing about the telly is that it fits in really well with the band. She doesn't really like it as a soloist instrument,
Yeah.
but it fits in really well with the whole
Everything
sound of the
else?
band. It never fights with the other guitars, like the sound of it, the tone. She never has to adjust it so that it's not
Like
drowning.
leveled out.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's the good thing about those, like that style of instrument, though.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't know, it's good.
It's fine.
It's hard to get an everything guitar, you know?
It's impossible to get an
Yeah.
everything guitar.
But it was a prototype, and it is really nice. And it darkened. The pink has darkened a bit, too. So now it is Dusty Rose.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
What they wanted originally.
yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah.
That was really hard.
Yeah, that was it. I'll show you guys. I'll load up a picture of the pink guitar so you guys can see what we're talking about here. But this was my second commission. I'll show you.
I still think it's one of my favorites.
It
But
turned out.
You see all the imperfections because you made it.
Yeah.
But when they came back and was just playing it, it's like you don't even notice any of that.
Yeah. So here it is. Okay, good night, Megan. Here's.
Alright, I'm gonna head out. I will be back on Thursday.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, we'll see you. See you then.
See ya.
So I share this shop. It's actually Mare and Will's shop. There's a whole group of us in here. There's people coming and going. It's a slow night tonight, but usually Jaime's here. Usually Will's here. There's a lot going on. But anyway, this is the guitar that that I made for AJ. So it was kind of a strange commission because it's like I don't normally do painted guitars, right? Like my jam is usually like natural wood, but AJ had this vision for this guitar. It was like Dusty Rose, Perloid pickguard, gold hardware. It did work as a design piece. It totally worked. It's just bye-bye. It's just something that I would, yeah, it's Cupcake too. It's just funny. And that's kind of the thing when you get commissioned to do something, sometimes you end up doing a guitar that you wouldn't normally do, and it kind of gets you out of your comfort zone. And so it turned out nice. Like that's a nice, I thought at first it would be kind of gaudy, but it actually came out really nice. And if you see there, I don't know if you can see on that picture, I'll see if I can find another one. So the dots on the fingerboard are heart inlays. Man, AJ asked a lot out of me. Which, it was kind of funny how much I was like, no, no, no. I said no to a lot of things, but then I ended up doing them anyway. At first I was like, no, I'm not doing gloss finish. I don't want to do it. I don't even want to paint this thing. So there you can see that those are heart inlays on the fingerboard. Yeah, it was a really cute, and it worked. And so that was the first Pank guitar. And then it kind of became a thing, and it kind of opened me up to the idea of like, yeah, I can paint a guitar if somebody really wants a color guitar. It also just looks really nice, like design wise, like it just came out really nice, and the colors all work together. The gold hardware is kind of tough sometimes. Sometimes gold can just look really gaudy, but these colors all work together, and it's a nice looking guitar. It was nice to handle it today, and it's holding up well. It'll wear really nice. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the nice thing. So when you're doing a commission for someone, it's kind of a collaboration, right? So you're kind of building a guitar together, and that's what's interesting about it. It's the same when I was doing Hemmel's guitar. It was kind of like, you know, he wanted these materials, and then I kind of had these ideas, and that was with Hemmel, that was a collaboration. With AJ's, I was building my guitar to her specifications. So I didn't have a lot of input because I said yes to everything. So that one was different just because I was building AJ's vision. So it worked out. It worked out really well. AJ's a very good player, and I'm glad, I'm proud that a player like that is using my instrument. So we will get, tell me how to party. Yeah, I'll let them tell me how to party. It's kind of, I don't know, it'll be nice to get some footage and some stuff and some music with my instruments. Is finally that also is starting to happen. There's musicians using my guitars now that there's shows again, things like that. So it's good. I was productive during the lockdown, and now we can see the fruits of my labor to a certain degree. So what's interesting and also kind of annoying, that body for that one is also walnut. It's chambered walnut, which is a real pain to paint. I had to do a lot of pore filling with it. It was very similar to this. Walnut is fairly porous, so it was kind of a pain to get that thing level. Kind of like, here's the thing. Because I did that pink guitar, I filled the pores, painted it, did the gloss finish. That that kind of made me confident with the process that when I was doing this one, I had already done it before, right? So that's another reason, like, I did not want to do a gloss finish. I did it anyway. I've done a few gloss finishes. It's not that they're just very time consuming, and you just have to be really careful. You just don't want to make mistakes. And when you're learning something, you of course make mistakes. And I really hate making mistakes on a commissioned instrument, because if I'm just building something just to learn, and I'll just sell it for whatever it's worth based on how well it comes out, right? When it's a commission, certain things you just like, if I screw up that finish, I have to redo it. So that pink guitar, the first color, so AJ wanted dusty rose. There's a lot of different dusty rose colors. I ordered some dusty rose paint. I painted it on, and it was pearl pink. And so that wasn't the right color, so I had to sand that off. And then I sprayed another one, and it was like, that one was more of like just a grayish pink. And so finally I had to get it custom mixed. The thing was such a nightmare. I had to get that color custom mixed and then spray it on and then level it. So I had to paint it like 3 times, because it's just like, when it's a commission, you just can't let things slide. Like, the client has to get what they want, right? So it's not good to be learning something on a commission, you know. But I got through it. And it turned out really well. Like, it's a professional level looking instrument, which is what I want. That's all the thing. If you want people to take you seriously as a professional, it has to just look and play like a professional guitar. That's the trick. Is it just has to look like it's a professionally made instrument. Then you're a professional instrument maker. When you sell it, boom, you're a luthier. That's what makes you a luthier. A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't consider myself a luthier. And I'm kind of like, have you ever sold a guitar? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, well, then you're a luthier. That's what I was telling Manny. Manny, he's like, I'm a guitar builder. I'm not a luthier. And I'm like, you sold a guitar. You're a luthier. That's the hustle there. But anyway, this one, the reason I'm doing gloss on this is because gloss has a perceived value. I want this to be able to hold its own with a PRS. It's going to be about the same price point as a PRS, so it has to have everything a PRS has. And so PRS has gloss, so it has to have gloss. Most people like shiny. AJ likes shiny. Some people like matte. It was funny. Her bass player came in today, and I was showing this body, and he was like, "It would look really nice matte." And I'm like, "Oh, I was like, I did have it matte, but then I sanded it off because I felt like it needed to be gloss." But I think in the end it will. For some reason, I prefer matte as well. But it's one of those things like gloss. There's nothing wrong with shiny. When I build my guitars, I make them matte or satin. This guitar, I wanted to have the most universal appeal, I think. Is the main thing with this. So it's like, majority of people like gloss. This is going to be gloss. This is a showpiece, so it's like I have to go all out. But if somebody doesn't want gloss, that's okay. Hey, Wayward Bus, thank you for that follow. Anyway, Iowa. It's going to look pretty good. The neck is going to be matte. It is a matte finish with a bird's eye maple. The head cap is going to be gloss. So this is going to be gloss. Everything else is going to be matte. And but it's still going to look pretty nice. I still have to put my decal on here. So this has a matte spray right now to seal it. I'm going to put the decal right there and then do a gloss finish over top. It's also going to have my my logo truss rod on there as well. Actually, I don't know. It might be kind of redundant to have my HB and then have the Hank Bud guitars on there as well. But I should probably brand it. Fret markers. Yeah, so one of the things I was going to do, I had more of the blue 4 fret markers, but for some reason when I was going to do, it just looked too dark. Like I was trying to figure out, can I do fret marker inlays with that stuff as well? And I tried that, and it just came off too dark. It just didn't work. So instead, what I did, I just left the fingerboard just nice. It's bird's eye maple, but on the binding, I put a little blue strip on the Padauk binding there, so that there was a little bit of blue in there. And I just left the fingerboard just nice. It's a really nice piece of bird's eye maple. And I felt that with the head cap and the body being so busy, there was really no need to add anything onto the fingerboard. The fingerboard was already, or the guitar already had enough to look at, and I felt adding more onto the fingerboard was just not necessary, because the main thing is the body and the head cap anyway. But I did do a scarfed Padauk. There's just pore filler on this right now. That's what all that is. I'm just filling the pores on the Padauk. That'll be sanded off, but I felt that gave it a little bit of something in the neck to just have that, and then have the binding. Yeah, the binding is, yeah, that gave it, it did something nice to the neck. You don't really see that too often, and you can't really see it on camera, but having that little blue strip in there, it does kind of tie everything together. So it did work as a piece, and it's going to have all chrome hardware. So everything chrome. So it's going to be very bright, very light. So that was one of the decisions that I made, was to go dark or light. So with this body, you could do black hardware on this one. And I kind of was like undecided when I first got this thing, and I was asking people, and we eventually, some people disagreed. We couldn't get consensus, but I decided to lean into the lighter aspects of the guitar rather than the darker. So I totally could have done an ebony fingerboard, black hardware, and it still would have worked. But by doing the chrome hardware and the maple fingerboard, it's going to be a much lighter guitar. Hey, Megs Nat, thank you for that follow. It'll just be, I don't know, it just changes the kind of look of it quite a bit, and just makes it more of, I guess, less of a metal guitar, because even though most of the time when you see these tops, they're usually on heavy metal guitars, and this is, yeah, it's a super Strat, but it's not really a metal guitar. I'm going to put a couple humbuckers in here, and a hip shot bridge, so you can definitely do metal on it, but it just doesn't have those vibes to it. Like, this could be a rock guitar. You know, it could be used anywhere, and it's just a nice guitar. Like, that's the thing, like I said, it kind of falls under that kind of PRS-y vibe, this one. So it's kind of, that's how I kind of see it. So it'll be, I don't know, I think it's going to be a pretty nice one, but you can shred on it. I'm not saying you can't not shred on it. Oh, thanks, Wayward Bus. This is, like I said, this is a showpiece, you know. Yeah, all guitars are potentially heavy metal guitars. Like, yeah. It's, I don't see my brand necessarily as a heavy metal brand, but I can do it. It is going to have, like, the hip shot bridge, you know, it's going to have hip shot locking tuners. It's just a nice guitar. It's a nice showpiece guitar, you know? So anyway, that's what I'm up to with this one. And that's the decisions I made stylistically. There's so many different routes, and it would have looked good with black hardware as well. A matte finish with black hardware, this thing would have been super nice. I really don't think there's any way to screw this thing up. You could put this top on the jankiest guitar and it would still look great. That's the thing about guitar building. If you just put a fancy top on it, it's going to look good, you know. Whether it's a good instrument or not, that's another question. But yeah, so that'll be that one. And then it kind of contrasts this one, which will be a satin oil finish. I think the oil looks really nice on walnut. So this will be more rustic. So it kind of shows a few different things, you know. It shows kind of like, I don't know if that's good though. Versatility, stylistic versatility. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because then it's like, is Hank Budd guitars, is it country guitars, or is it fancy pants guitars? Who knows? I've said this before and I'll say it again, a lot of guitar building in any sort of art is about taste, is about just having good taste and being like, I think these elements should be put together into an instrument. And just doing nice combinations. Curated, as Willie said, it's curated materials. I didn't create this top. I just bought it from some guy in Turkey, you know? So it's like finding a way to utilize it was what was important, and the combination. And like I said, this one's going to have relic hardware, much like my other one. I really like the relic. The relic hardware, I think, looks good on these ones. So you can see there, it's all kind of worn. We ran into some problems. So I really like the look of the vintage barrel bridges. But here was a problem today. So on that telly I made AJ. AJ does math rock. If you guys are familiar with math rock, it's kind of prog rock with weird time signatures, kind of jazz. So lots of kind of uncommon chording, strange time signatures, stuff like that. The drawback of the barrel bridges is the intonation isn't perfect. No intonation is ever perfect. I usually put the Wilkinson compensated barrels on. Those ones are usually fine for country and rock and blues, but we found I had to kind of mess with the intonation a little bit for to be able to get it in tune in this area. So it was just we realized that we're going to have to swap out that bridge and put in a bridge with individually intonated saddles, which you do get better intonation there. Individual saddles. I do like those barrel bridges, and I think I'm going to keep them in these guitars. Unless somebody doesn't want them, then I'll put those in. But it's kind of like, I really like those barrel bridges, but obviously it's not going to work as well for that style, where you just need a little bit more precision. Yeah, rock out with your math cell. Yeah, so it's like I can now build the guitar that AJ needs. Last year I was just building prototypes and just working through ideas and stuff, and they weren't bad guitars. But why is this shaking? They weren't bad guitars, but now that I've worked through my process a bit, I can build a better instrument for certain players. Yeah, it's true, and I think that works way better for country music. Like, I like the vintage pickups. Like, I think for these guitars, it suits them. It really suits them to have those barrel bridges. Yeah. But now I know. Now I know if I ever have another client who's like, I play math rock, I'll be like, I have the guitar for you. These ones, you can play both kinds of music, country and Western. That's what I'm going to say about these ones, that it's like you cannot make an everything guitar. You cannot make a guitar that does everything. But I can make a really good country blues telly. That's what I can do with this. And you can play metal on it if you want. Will plays metal on these all the time. It's outrageous. But these ones I have figured out. Unfortunately, it took my Roya, that also I think is a really good jazz guitar. It's a really good jazz guitar. Again, you can play other things on it, but man, those P90s, Sean recommended these P90s, and I got them because he was the dealer on them. That's why he recommended them, but they were really nice. They were Tone Rider, which are kind of mid-range pickups as far as price point. You can get a set for $100. And so they're cheaper than the Seymour Duncans, a lot cheaper than the Lawlers, and they're actually a really, really nice P90. I checked out their other stuff. Sean brought me some other Tone Rider stuff just because he's the dealer, and he's like, this company's pretty good, and they're a good price point, right? And so I tried their vintage telly set, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good vintage telly set. And I tried the P90s, and those were also really good for the price point. And like, if somebody wants Duncans, I'm going to put Duncans in this one just because Duncans have that name that people kind of expect. Like, oh, if you're building a custom guitar, it has to have Duncans or bare knuckles or Lawlers in it. I really, really like the Lawler vintage telly set. I think it sounds amazing, but I don't think I'm going to buy it for this one. I have a set of Seymour Duncans that I'm going to put in, but for just a inexpensive build, I'm probably going to go for the Tone Riders, though I can't recommend the Tone Rider humbuckers. Wasn't too impressed with their sound. Not that they were bad. It's just none of the sounds really jived with me. And I'm not saying that like, I'm not knocking them. It's just like, it's really hard because I really like the classic Gibson PAF sound, and my guitars are not Gibsons, right? And I'm always trying to, that's why I like the Antiquities. I really like that vintage Gibson sound, but my guitars are not, they don't look like that, even though I like that sound. And I don't want my Super Strats, my Royas, to just sound like Gibsons. So that's why I really like the P90s. I think it gives it a more unique voice. The semi-hollow with that, it's like, if I'm going to do a custom guitar, it has to have a unique voice. But I'll put whatever pickup anybody wants in it. For that guitar, for the fancy one, the fancy with the burl top, my dad actually got me some custom wound pickups from a guy he likes in Saskatoon, in Saskatchewan. So he got some new, there's some Les Paul style pickups, but he really likes them. He was getting some new pickups for his Les Paul, and then he's like, oh, these are really good. And so then he got me a set as well. So that's what's going to go into that, because I was just going to do, normally what I do when I do humbuckers, I just do a 59 in the neck and a JB in the bridge. It's so versatile. Nobody hates them. So it's kind of like, that's your safest bet, is just go for a 59 and a JB. So if I do humbuckers, it's usually a 59 and a JB. So but this is a little bit different. So we'll see about that. Though, you know what's really funny is we do heavy metal guitars. The Hank merch is pretty cool. I know. I made it. Thank you, Raj. I went a little crazy on doing that merch. I appreciate that you grabbed some of that merch for your kids there, Raj. The pictures were great. I'm going to do more merch. The merch is kind of like a good way to just kind of do other types of art and kind of put it out there. Do some of like funny memes from the channel. Do some drawings and things. It's good. It's a good kind of outlet for it. So we have a guitar here in the shop that we build here called the Dunvegan, which is like our heavy metal guitar. I'll show you our heavy metal guitar. This is the Dunvegan. This is our shredder that we make here. I've worked on quite a few of these Dunvegans. Will designed these ones. They are really nice. They are really ergonomic, really light, pointy. Don't forget pointy, but not too pointy. And so this has some Nazgul, Seymour Duncan Nazgul pickups, and they're actually really nice pickups. I really like the sound of those Nazguls. I can fully endorse Nazgul pickups. Even though when I heard the name, I was like, really? They called them Nazguls? That is really cheesy. And then I heard them, I'm like, those Nazguls are great. So I'm now a believer in the Nazgul. But this is Clara walnut top, swamp ash body, black walnut neck, Wenge fingerboard, and hip shot hardware. Just the right amount of pointy, not too pointy, but you can still spear your amp with it. If you need to, if you just really chuck that thing hard, you could spear an amp all the way for sure. But these feel really good. Will designed a really nice guitar. 24 frets. The one thing about this one that we're kind of like, we were hoping that the Wenge for the fingerboard would have gotten darker when we oiled it, and it stayed more brown than black, and it's like, that fingerboard should have been jet black. That's the only thing I don't like about this one. It has no effect on the playability of it, but it's like if that fingerboard was jet black, it would have been a lot better. So, but is what it is. Oh yeah, you like the 59. Do you have the 50? Is it it's the 59 set? And you prefer it to the JB and Jazz. Yeah. You find it sounds more broken in. I do like the more broken in sound. I do like that. I think that it just sounds that warm. I don't know how to describe it, but it just has a warmth to it, you know? And it's really nice on the ears. That's how I feel. Hey, Shiakak. Thank you for that follow. It breathes. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find the right sound. 'Cause again, with electric guitars, like I was saying, a lot of the sound is from the pickups. A big part of the sound. So, what are you doing, Emmett? Oh, he's destroying something here. So, one thing that I have to do. Man, Emmett is destroying something right now. Emmett is the dog, by the way. He's bored. He's destroying things. Pore filling. The Paduk is very, very porous. Okay, Emmett, I'm going to have to take his toy away. That's too loud. Okay, no more. No more. No more. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find a new toy. That's what he does when he's bored. He wants to go out. We got another hour to go. Sorry, buddy. One more hour. So with the Padauk is very, very porous. So I should have done a better job of pore filling before I did the spray. And now because of that, I have to do more sanding. I sprayed it and it's still, I was like, I don't want to use can after can to fill that. So I sprayed it and then I pore filled it with some CA. I'm going to sand it flush and then I'm going to do one more spray of matte and then it should be good. Again, this one's okay. This one's going to get the gloss on it. I'm still waiting for my water slide decals. So I got time on this neck. The fretwork, everything is done. So it's just waiting for things to come in. Just want to get it nice and flush. But man, Padauk, here's one of the problems. It's very similar to rosewood. And so the pores are really deep. And you want to fill those, but you also want it to kind of blend in. And so I did, or let me just explain one of the problems. Like rosewood, Padauk contaminates lighter woods. So I did Padauk and maple. And I was able to clean it up quite a bit, so you can't really see. But when I was like pore filling and sanding, because it was wet and stuff, it was like staining the maple red or kind of orange, right? And so that's one of the problems with rosewood as well, is that when you're sanding with maple or something, luckily maple isn't very porous, so the dust doesn't really get stuck in it. But you have to be like really careful if you're using wood like ash or something that's kind of grainy, and then you're like sanding your rosewood or Padauk or whatever, and it will get into those pores. And if you don't clean it properly or sand it properly, when you spray it, you'll be able to see all that stuff in the pores. Another problem that happens when you're pore filling is you'll fill it and then you sand it, and then whatever you use to pore fill, like something like this, that white dust can get shoved into the pores. And then you have these white flecks all over it. So you have to be really meticulous in your sanding when you're getting things like when you want to get it like just perfectly smooth. Because this isn't such a big deal because it's getting matte. But why it's really matte, not such a big deal, okay? So this one, I'm just getting it as smooth as possible. I just didn't want there to be any pores seen on the sides. If there's a few pores seen on like the binding and the side, that's not a big deal to me if it's not perfect because it's matte. And here's why. Is on a gloss finish, if it's not perfectly smooth, the light will catch the edge of the pore. Keep your Padauk clean. Keep your Padauk clean. So everywhere that there is a little divot, you will get a white, you'll see the light reflected off that little hole. And so it will, I filled all these pretty good, so you can't really see what I'm saying, but actually I filled all these pores. But anyway, what happens is, see all those pores? All those little pores in there? Is they would be, you can see it right there in some of those. You would just see all the edges. Any defect will show, any little defect, any little scratch. One annoying thing about this wood, that bug hole right there. Why did there have to be a bug hole right there? But it was the only way. It was the only way I could put this wood together and use it as a body. I don't think it's a huge deal, but there is a bug hole right on the back. But for the most part, that Padauk looks really nice. But it looks like I got enough on there. There's a few low points. I taped off my cavity so that the gloss wouldn't make the cavity